Hey, it's Sri here. In today's video, I'm going to talk you through how to cope with feelings of desperation if your husband's wanting to separate with you. You know, dealing with separation is such a difficult situation to deal with, not only in terms of the impact on your family and yourself and obviously between the two of you, but also just the internal emotions that you'll be feeling. It's such a difficult place to be, and my heart goes out to you. And I want you to know that, transformation is real. You absolutely can do this. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of clients in the past, and, I see on a regular occasion women making incredible shifts when they felt like it wasn't even possible. So I want you to remember that, people like Angie, people like Laurie, people like Rachel, people like Amanda, women who have created incredible shifts, were also in the place that you're in right now. So make sure you stick around to the end of this video to get all of the information, all of the tips and strategies that you can use to be able to cope with the desperation that you're feeling right now. And make sure you hit that subscribe button below and click on that bell notification as well, so that you get access to my latest videos where I talk you through every aspect of male psychology. I talk you through how to heal from within after infidelity, and then what you really need to do in terms of the practical steps in order to be able to move forward in your situation right now. So I get it. Your husband has said that he wants to separate, and it's just completely turned your world upside down. And not only is it impacting in terms of the physical circumstances, but obviously internally on a mental and emotional level. That's often where the hardest part of it is, because I believe that, our emotional state dictates our perception of the external environment. And so, if we are in this really, really desperate place and we just feel like our world's going to completely crumble, it can actually intensify the pain even more. And so because of this, we really want to make sure that we're handling the circumstances in the best way that we possibly can. Now, part of the reason why there is such pain at this moment is because often when a husband basically says that he wants to separate, what's actually happening here is that from a power dynamic perspective, he's here and you're here. So in other words, your emotions are dictated by his behaviors. And because you feel helpless and powerless in the situation, it naturally exacerbates all the emotions that you're feeling right now. So it intensifies it even more. So you're left completely struggling in terms of not knowing what to do, not knowing the steps you need to take. As much as you want him to try and be pragmatic and practical about it, he kind of breaks all the rules. You may have even had scenarios where you guys agreed to speak to the kids at a certain stage, and then he's gone off and done other things and told them earlier than you expected. And that makes you feel even worse, because not only are you feeling like you're losing your husband, but you're also feeling like you're losing your family. And there's often those fears of, oh my goodness, like, are the kids going to think that it was me that wanted the separation rather than he was the one that wanted the separation? Because naturally he's going to want to ensure that he doesn't look like the bad guy. So you're dealing with all of these complexities, and that's why this situation is so difficult and so painful. But the one thing that we have to make sure we manage is our emotional state in the circumstances, and make sure that just mentally and emotionally that we're doing everything we can to manage the circumstances in the best way possible. And sure, it's never going to be perfect, but I do believe that there are a few key steps and a few key areas that you really can put your time and energy into to shift how you feel, and therefore impact in a positive way the decisions that you make moving forward. Now, the other reason why we experience a lot of pain in these circumstances is because when your husband wants to separate, or he's saying, look, I'm not sure if this is going to work anymore, or if there's been infidelity, what happens is it usually brings up two core wounds that I see most in the majority of my clients. And the first is rejection, and the second is abandonment. The rejection, obviously, because, at the very core of it, we want love. And so if he's saying that he wants to separate and he's found someone else, or even if he just wants to go somewhere else, that's creating this rejection on the inside. You're not feeling like you're good enough. And no one likes to feel rejected in any situation. And then when it comes to the abandonment side of things, often individuals may have been brought up in broken homes, or there may have been situations where maybe you've lost a parent early in your life, and so therefore when someone is walking away, it almost feels like they're leaving you, and it's like you're replaying a lot of those childhood memories again. And that's why we have to make sure we're doing a lot of the healing on the inside, because if we do that, then it helps us to manage the circumstances in a much better way. So the question is now is, how do we manage both the emotional side of things, but also ensure that we actually can reclaim our power in terms of the circumstances? Now, I need to be clear here. When I talk about reclaiming power, I'm not meaning in a controlling way or, in a tyrannical way or any of that sort of stuff. It's just purely from a perspective of owning and empowering yourself. So I'm going to talk you through 4 really important steps you need to take in order to cope with the desperation that you may be feeling right now if your husband's wanting to separate. Now, the first step that you need to remember is you've got to acknowledge that this is going to be tough. Now, it sounds like a very simple idea, and it is simple in principle. However, the majority of us, we're really hoping for some quick fix, some miracle, some magic transformation that things are going to just shift. And the reality is there's so much online that people are trying to talk up how we can shift things in a matter of weeks and all of that sort of stuff. Now, the reality of it is that no matter what your circumstances are in terms of your marriage, if you're going through a tough time, it's going to be tough. And I think that as soon as we get to an acknowledgement of that, if we acknowledge that this is going to be challenging and we accept that, then it means that we're not sort of pushing against it. We're not looking for that magic fix. And we're allowing ourselves to stay as grounded as we can. Trust me, in any situation in life, if we acknowledge things are going to be tough, then we're not trying to race ahead. We're playing the long game. We're staying patient. We're able to make smarter decisions because we're not looking for that just overnight fix. I always tell everyone who jumps in my program as well, this is not going to be an overnight fix. Transformation takes time, but boy, is it worth it. So you really want to make sure that you acknowledge that the next few weeks, months are going to be difficult on all levels. But if you acknowledge it's going to be difficult, then it allows you to be pragmatic and practical in terms of moving forward. Now, the second step that you need to take is to ensure that you focus more on acceptance rather than resistance. What does that mean? So, if we're dealing with some difficult circumstances, we don't want it to be true. Especially if your husband has said he wants to separate, you don't want that to be true. There's a part of you that just wants to wake up from this nightmare and go back to those lovely days. So you don't want it to be true. So therefore, what we're doing is we're resisting what is. What we need to be doing is stepping into acceptance. You see, there was a study that was done years ago, and I forget where it was done, but they explained how when it comes to stress or anxiety or any of these negative emotions, if it continues to play up over and over and over, what they discovered that it wasn't actually the stress or the fear or the anxiety or whatever, it was the resistance that they had to those emotions that resulted in it making it worse and intensifying. Now just think about that for a second. It's not the emotion, it's the resistance to the emotion that we have. Now, I know in my life that whenever I've had, negative emotions, which has been plenty of times over the years, but if I think about, some of the fears and the insecurities and the anxiety and the depression and so on that I've had, often it's not that I've had those emotions, it's that I don't want to feel those. I don't want to know about those emotions. And even if it's not necessarily in that language for you, there'll be a part of you on the inside that just doesn't want to experience that, or continues to feed it over and over and over by thinking those thoughts regularly. And by thinking those thoughts regularly regarding a situation or an emotion, we're actually resisting it because we're not allowing it to be as it is. So with the circumstances that you're dealing with right now, a little bit like the fact that we have to acknowledge that it's tough in the first step, the second step, we have to make sure that we get to a place of acceptance of what is. We accept what is. Your husband has said that he wants to separate, or he has left the house, or he has separated with you. Whatever it is, acceptance and acknowledgement of that is actually a really powerful step to take. Just like if you've lost a loved one. If you have, I'm so sorry you've had to go through this, but if you have, then you'll understand that when someone passes, obviously there is the initial shock of it, but over time, it gets easier when we actually get to a place of acceptance of it. That's the only way we're really able to move forward and progress in our lives. It doesn't mean we forget about those people. We remember them, we have love for them, but we acknowledge and we accept that they are no more. And it's the same thing in these circumstances. If we accept what is, not just in terms of the circumstances, but also our emotions, then we're able to move forward in a much faster way. Now, the third step that you need to take is to reclaim your power. Now, how do we do that? What it means is it's an intention. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to do anything in particular right now, but it's an intention on the inside that says, I am going to choose myself the decisions that I'm going to take right now. Now, part of you might be sitting there going, but how the hell do I do that? He's the one that wants this. I don't want this anymore. That's true. However, you still have the ability to say the things that you want to say, to take the steps that you need to take, to focus on your own growth, to focus on your own healing, to be pragmatic in terms of the circumstances that you're dealing with. You know, a lot of people that I talk to often tell me that when they actually separate with their husband, it gives them the space to be able to reclaim who they are. That they used to be this really positive and strong and confident woman, and then over 15, 20 years of marriage, it's slowly resulted in a decline. This is an opportunity for your own healing and your own growth. And it really does make an ocean of difference when you start to create those shifts on the inside. So it's paramount that you reclaim your power. Start to do those things that bring you joy. You know, spend some time with the people that bring you joy. Find that inner strength on the inside and say to yourself, he may make those decisions, but you know what? I am not going to let his decisions control how I feel on the inside. I choose how I feel. I am enough just as I am. And I'm going to make the best decisions for me and my family's future, no matter what. You've got to do that. You've got to reclaim that power on the inside. And then finally, you've got to heal those inner wounds. As I talked about, the rejection, the abandonment, the emotions of inadequacy. You've got to heal those wounds. How do we do that? Well, we've got to make sure we do it on a mental and an emotional level. A lot of people just sit there and think, oh, I've just got to use affirmations, or I need to just get my nails done, or I need to go and get a massage and do those things. Those are sometimes good things to do, just to signal to God or the universe that you're ready to prioritize you. But you've got to heal those mental and emotional wounds, which means you've got to explore, what are the regular thought patterns that I hold on to on a daily basis? You know, do I wake up in fear all the time? Am I thinking fearful thoughts regularly? Is there a part of me that's almost addicted to those negative thoughts because I've been like this for years? You know, are there those thoughts that are going on? From an emotional perspective, have you always found it difficult to just change your thoughts and then change how you feel? I know for me, you know, if someone said to me, oh, listen, I want you to just think these positive thoughts, I could think it, but it won't do anything for me. And I really believe that each person is a little bit different like that. Some people really respond well to just a shift in your thinking. Other people need to heal on an emotional level, which is what I had to do. I had to make sure I healed my wounds of inadequacy and rejection and so on. Once I started to do that, then what happened was I was able to think positive thoughts, but it would actually have an emotional reaction in a good way. I would feel those thoughts rather than just thinking them and trying to fake it till you make it. So you've got to heal on that deeper level. Now I know, you know, doing some of the deeper work can be quite complex, and there's a lot of uncertainty around what steps you need to take. And this is the reason why I've got my Authentic Relationship System training program, which is an incredible program that I know you'll absolutely love. It's a really powerful and comprehensive training program where I walk you through specifically the steps you need to take if you are going through a separation, if you're wanting to save your marriage, or even if you're just wanting to heal from within and ultimately attract the person that you're looking for as well. And not only that, but you're also getting the opportunity to work with me personally, but also interact with an incredible community of women who have gone through some really difficult times and can not only help you to move forward, but also it just allows you to develop that sense of companionship in that community that often we find quite difficult, especially in this day and age with COVID and all of these challenges that people are having to deal with right now. So if you resonate with this material and you connect with me and it feels right for you, then all you need to do is in the description section below, just click on that link which just says book a call with me. Just click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then what I'll do is I'll contact you at that scheduled time just so I can learn a little bit more about your situation, see if I can help in any way, and see if the program's a good fit for you. If not, I'll make sure I give you a couple of tips and tricks and make sure that you're able to move forward as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've liked it, make sure you hit the like button below. If you want to get more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. And do let me know what your biggest takeaway is from this video as well. I always love hearing the comments and the questions. Make sure you comment below and I'll respond to every single one of them. And if you want to learn the 5 reasons why your husband wants to separate, click this video above. If you want to learn what to do when your husband leaves you, click this video above. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video.